when it comes to show topic for today, what do you have for us, boss?
I am going to continue a little bit with resiliency from last week, but it's going to lead us into another one of our R's. So, yeah, well, let's talk about that now since you brought it up. We have another one who joined us non-PSN. I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced in a way or if it's supposed to be read like that, but welcome and thank
Okay.
you for joining us. We really appreciate that you're here. So I was just talking about going back to the subject of resiliency, which was the main topic for our very first episode. I went through a few examples of dealing with a narcissistic boss. If you guys haven't checked that show out yet, you really should. It was really, really fun. It was our first time with all of our equipment functioning, so that was great. Obviously, out the pilot episode to see what we started with. Um, B, thank you for joining us as well. Really, really happy that you're here. So back to this resiliency. Again, check out those episodes if you haven't seen them already so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I wanted to bring us back to resiliency in order to kind of pivot to another one of our arts. So one of the biggest questions I was asked after our last episode in my Facebook group, in DMs, all that kind of stuff was, how do you become resilient? It's a really, really big question. It covers a lot of different things. And of course, for individuals, it's going to be very unique what's going to work for everyone and what's going to help build on the resiliency skills that you already have. But what resiliency really is born out of is recovery. It's really born out of recovering from different situations. Now, recovery is a term that's very, very often associated with addiction, but it is not the only thing that people recover from. People recover from abuse, from PTSD, from injury, stress, mental injury. There are so many different other things that people recover from. And it's really in that recovery, the acknowledgement of everything that you're learning, all of the skills that you're building, and the fact that you can improve on yourself is really what gets that cycle going for resiliency to begin to increase. Sorry, it's very exciting for me. I love talking about this stuff. But I'm going to take off my glasses because the reflection.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble, everybody. Glasses have come off. It's like taking your earrings off, huh? Take your shoes and your earrings off. You're ready to throw down now.
Only with knowledge, Paxton.
I know.
Yeah, Alexander, thank you so much for joining us as well. So happy that you guys are all here. I'm so excited to chat more with everyone, and hopefully, if we aren't able to have our guests come on, maybe we can have a bit of an open floor for everyone who's joining us today. So again, back to the question of how do you become resilient? So it's really, again, in that recovery, that process that we go in to get through and learn from the negative or traumatic or stressful experiences that we have. So it's not just getting through it. It's not just recovering. It's not just moving along. It's the acknowledgement of doing those things that builds your resiliency. Because if you're doing things and building things and learning things and developing skills, great, great. That's going to add to your life. But when you can look back and acknowledge that you were able to do those things, you were able to learn things that you knew nothing about before, you were able to develop skills that you hadn't even started before, even thought to begin. Knowing and seeing it and being confident that you're able to do that, that you can do that is huge. And that is really where resiliency begins. Hi, Shay Shay. Thanks for joining us too. And
Hey,
Osis Becca, super, super happy to see you
hey, so you got a bunch of buttons over there
guys.
in your high tech equipment.
I
Can
do.
can Shay Shay and everybody get a collective what's up?
I don't know if I have a what's up, but I have a this one.
I love it. You guys are so great.
Oh my God. I just love that you got all that stuff. That is so cool. Do it,
Is
do it again, do it again, do it again.
the same one or a different one?
No, no, same one, same one.
All right, ready for this?
it. You guys are so great.
I'm gonna
That's the
start
best.
my lip sync with that, and then the next time I play it, look like I'm saying it, and no one will know that.
Oh man. Okay, somebody's been practicing. So that's so cool. All right. I like that. Hey, we should just do a recording of just you lip syncing that
Oh
and
my
just
god,
and
I
just
just
post it. And
do
just
that.
post it just to make people smile. Just so they don't get caught up in a negative day. They just know. All right.
Little
You were
real.
saying you were saying hello.
Yeah,
Shay Shay's in the house. Veronica's here.
Jay Shay's here.
Mia's here. Thank you,
And
everybody.
else again. So awesome to have this amazing group of people come together and support the show and learn with us and talk about resiliency. So yeah, I was really just discussing how recovery leads us to resiliency. And so don't think that, I mean, if you've never had a terrible, awful experience, first of all, good, glad, amazing. Second of all, not likely you'll get through life without having a pretty big stressful experience. So do learn and do look at the things that you have accomplished and have been able to get through, and um, things that you really were able to move through and move past and recover from or through, even if it doesn't seem like something quote unquote big. We all have little traumas in our life. We all have stressful experiences, negative experiences. So it doesn't have to be something huge and all surmounting and just devastating in order to be considered a trauma. Warrior Woman Speak, thank you for joining us. I love that. I love that profile name.
Nice.
Some strong femininity in the house.
I'm scared. Oh.
We'll protect you. Don't worry about it. So again, doing the work is one thing. Learning the skills is another thing. Developing those skills, something else. But looking back, acknowledging, understanding, being able to bear witness and observe your own growth and development, it really increases your confidence and your ability to do that more. And it increases your resiliency in the fact that you've seen yourself grow, you've seen yourself do better, you've seen yourself accomplish things when maybe at some point you thought you weren't able to. And all of these things really, really can be developed without some huge thing that's happened in your life. Again, it's really just about acknowledging the things that you've done so that you know you can handle situations in the future. And it really just boils down to that. Becoming more resilient is developing those skills that increase your confidence to deal with all sorts of different situations moving forward. So stress management skills, emotional intelligence, really important things that really help you grow as a person to your core, like really help you to connect with other human beings. And that is one thing I really love about resiliency is trauma and negative experiences really disconnect us from the world, really disconnect us from other people and isolate us from other people. And resiliency really brings the ability to have that connection back, to feel safe in that world because, again, we can see that we're able to handle things, right? So, knowing that, having that confidence to be able to deal with something, it makes taking risks less scary. So if you've been in an awful relationship and you're scared to go date again, you're scared to start meeting people, you would learn the skills that start allowing you to kind of tiptoe into that instead of diving right in, which might be more traumatic. It might be re-traumatizing. It might make things worse or cause more negative experiences. Instead of that, you're going to move into it slowly with an action plan, with goals. You're going to celebrate your goals and you're going to make sure that you, again, bear witness and watch and observe and notice the progress that you make and the skills that you develop and the things that you learn, because it's in that acknowledgement and that noticing that you remind yourself you're capable of that the cycle of resiliency can really, really begin. And you just keep getting stronger and stronger in it because as you build your resiliency, you are less scared to take risks. So then you take another risk, you succeed in that, you build your confidence even more. And it's just this cycle of positivity and connection and growth and just development. And so it's really the complete opposite of trauma and abuse and fear and all that stuff. So it's really, really my favorite topic.
When it comes to getting into a position to, well, be resilient, we may not recognize it's time for us to be resilient because of trauma or because of never really having a support group to teach us how to be resilient. What can we do then?
So then you really want to practice the skills of resiliency outside of them being necessary. And some people might understand that, and some people might say, why would I waste my time trying to learn these things that I'm not going to use right away or might never need? But in reality, when we learn things that we then use in a stressful situation, practicing them while we're calm is going to increase our chances of completing those processes successfully or using those techniques successfully to calm us back down, to keep us stable, to remind us and reconnect us and bring us out of, potentially dissociation or whatever it is that you're experiencing. It's knowing the skills that you need at the time because you practiced when you didn't need them, if that makes sense. That's really the simplest way that I can put it. It's like working out at the gym, right? You don't necessarily need to lift 50 pounds in each arm every day, but when you need to lift something off someone that's crushing their leg or something like that, you're going to be really happy you went to that gym because it's a stressful situation. You need to use it. You can't build that muscle in those moments. So you're going to be happy that you practiced that in your spare time, that you built up those muscles in that spare time. And your brain is really the exact same way. If you start training your brain to react in a certain way to certain things, it's going to start doing that automatically because that's how our brains work. We need to do things automatically to, what's the word? To save energy, essentially, to make
Mhm.
sure we don't our own energy. We need to do things automatically. It's just how our brains have to function to be able to function at the high level that they do. So we do things automatically. We need to recognize that, and we need to be able to kind of hack that automatic system. And this is something I love doing with my clients because they don't realize the negative cycles and patterns that they've gotten themselves into and that they keep accepting or that they keep moving towards. And when I can finally bring these up and bring to their attention and they're able to actually see for themselves, they don't understand how they haven't been able to see this for years and years and years or their entire lives. And then when I explain to them the action steps, the inching forward, the one step at a time action plan of how we switch those unhealthy cycles and patterns into healthy cycles and patterns, it blows their mind even more because they realize where these unhealthy and unstable patterns came in the first place. Usually in childhood, usually when we don't have the executive functioning ability, so the higher level thinking ability that we develop in our 20s, we don't have that as children. So it's cycles that have usually started then when we are more helpless and we're more dependent on our caregivers to show us what's right. So if we didn't have those examples, we need to recreate them for ourselves. We need to look elsewhere, right? And if you haven't learned those skills, you now know that they exist. They exist in the world, and you don't have to be a child to learn them. You don't have to go back to that time, set back a time machine. It's very, very, very capable that you are able to do that now. There is no such thing as too late in your life to put into place healthy patterns, healthy activities, healthy coping mechanisms, healthy strategies for success. It is never too late, right? And even if you've tried before and it failed, even if you tried before and it didn't quite go as you planned, try again, right? Nobody got anywhere by giving up. Nobody reached their goals by giving up, ever, on the history or in the history of the universe. I can promise you that, right? So just keep going. Just keep trying new things.
More and more, it's becoming very clear that people are struggling emotionally. The ability to keep going and not give up. It's becoming very hard for people to not give up. You're saying resiliency can be a foundation and a pattern of life. That it's more than just, well, if I fail or when I fail. It's, you know what? I can get back up. Is that what you're talking about, Coach?
Oh yeah, 100%. And one single person tells me that I can't get back up, I can't do this, I've never been able to succeed before, I'm going to look at them and I'm going to ask them if they were born learning how to walk or knowing how to walk. Because that is something that you did in your life that you learned how to do, that you 100% fell down a bunch of times while you were learning, and you got back up, and I bet you're pretty good at it now, right? So don't tell me you can't, get back up and keep trying because you have. You haven't gotten where you are today by giving up, right? And I don't care what situation you're in and where you are. There is something in your life that you can look back on and say, I worked my way through that. I didn't give up. I didn't run away.
You've got something on the screen there, Coach.
He does. He is my poppy. So they're saying I've been going through narc abuse since I was 14 years old, not by my parents, but by getting into a relationship way too young. Oh, this is so common, and I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with this. It is unfortunate that a lot of predators and perpetrators target young people. They do that again because they know that your brain isn't fully developed at that age to make proper decisions, to make decisions that an adult would make, that someone with a fully developed brain would make. And that is nothing to do with your fault, right? Like getting in a relationship too young, yes, of course, it's something that you can look back on and say, I wish I hadn't done that. But at the same time, I love reminding people, and I want to remind you this, we make the best decisions we can with what we have and what we know at the time, right? So we really need to be able to be patient with ourselves, forgive ourselves for that, and just really look at what we can learn from that. And so I'm hoping that in that awful situation and in that awful relationship, that you are able to now see what you don't want in a relationship, what kind of red flags might drive you away from the next person that might be seemingly as predatory as this first person, and what you do want, what you want more of, what kept you in that relationship, and made you want to stay, right, for however long you did stay. Pick those things out and use that as a guide map to the next relationship that you want to have, right? It doesn't have to be a completely awful and terrible and useless experience. Use the information that you learned, right? Observe yourself, acknowledge yourself and what you learned in that, and keep going, keep moving forward.
You have a number of people that have joined, Coach.
I do.
I'm going to give a shout out to somebody I've learned a lot from. That's Ask Anashka.
Ask Anashka, thank you so much for joining us.
You have a number of others that have joined, and you have a few that have given you some comments there. So true, predators, Anashka says. And you got a little bit more there for you. But can we have you hit a button or two for the people that just joined?
Of course we can. Of course we can. Let's see what we have.
What you gonna pick? What you gonna pick?
My resiliency music.
Oh, okay. Do it again. 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 It's so silly.
Man, the
everyone, if it's your first time passing through here and you have not watched the pilot episode, let alone our first episode, this is the second one, and each one will get better because we don't know any better. We just wanted to come on and try it out and get the kinks out as we go. So when you're in episode number 37 or 55, you're really going to love this show. But right now, we thank you for supporting us. Okay, boss, what else you got there? You got something else on the screen there for you.
Well, he is my poppy is mentioning again about her situation in which she was in a really narcissistic abusive relationship when she was 14. So she's mentioning that he was 16 years old and physically and emotionally abusive and really had her brainwashed. It lasted 5.5 years. That's a really long period of time, and that's a really important period of development in your brain. Those are the ages that a lot of associations are being created in our brains, right? So that's, self-esteem and confidence, how people react to us, how we navigate around other people. All of that kind of stuff is going on as the higher level functioning of our brain is developing. And so that's around that period. So that really is, it really can be, I should say, quite disruptive to development potentially and what's going on, especially in emotional and social development. So I really, really hope that you were or have or are getting the help that you need, the support that you need. to get through that. And if you're not and you would like to, I would really love you to DM me and we can set up a chat. Um, Going there, I'd also love to mention Paxton and I discussed a little bit, and I'm very happy to announce that anybody who is following this page, Narcissistic TV, as well as my page at Life Plus Coaching and Coach Jess 2021, you are all entitled to a free 30-minute coaching session with me. And so I really want to get to know all of you personally and what's going on in your lives, just not just because I'm super interested in all of you fascinating and amazing people, but because I really want to know what kind of content is going to be the most helpful for everyone moving forward. And so, really, in exchange for that 30 minutes of coaching I'm going to give you, I'll probably ask you a few questions and just kind of gather some information there so that we can make this show as much about you guys as possible. So I just really wanted to add that in there.
Okay, I'm gonna use something here.
Mm-hmm.
I had to use my little weak button that I got over here, so that's all I got.
Who's interested in that, just DM me and we'll set that up, and that will just be super fun and again very helpful. I promise to provide some action planning for you in whatever situation you're dealing with, and I really look forward to connecting with all of you.
30 minutes free counseling, consulting is available to you if you, of course, participate in the show, talk about the show, follow the show, but more importantly, you get to, hang out with Coach Jess, and I'll tell you, it's a true treasure because her positivity is indeed one of a kind. Yeah, thank you so much for being positive. I'm looking that we have gone 27 minutes, and I want to introduce this thought before you go any further, Coach, if you don't mind. I have a situation in which people come to the platform, the Narc Abuse TV show, and a few of them have mentioned your show. One of the things that they like about you is that you are nonstop on your energy about helping others get encouragement, and they like that. What motivates you to do that?
What motivates me? When I was younger and I was dealing with my complex post-traumatic stress disorder, my generalized anxiety disorder, all of the stuff that, the mental injury and issues that I was dealing with was really, really, really scary, especially for a young woman. Like I was 15 when I left home due to circumstances. And so all this is in my head, out of the house at 15, having to navigate through, high school, university, getting my first job, all of that kind of stuff, and not knowing that I have this PTSD going on. That's terrifying me and causing a lot of disruption in my life, causing me to lose friends, relationships, all of this kind of stuff. And it's really, really scary. It really is. It's terrifying. It's isolating. And especially for a kid, it's all consuming because you don't really know life without that. And so as I healed from that and as I learned more, I really made this promise to myself that I'm going to get as much information about mental wellness out into the world as possible at any opportunity that I have. I'm always going to talk to somebody who needs support or guidance. I'm right, like I'm never going to be able to turn away from that. I'm always going to want to discuss things with people. I'm always going to want to ask questions so that people can kind of dig deeper in what they're experiencing and going through and figure out if it is, something that they need to go and see a counselor, a coach, a therapist, a doctor for, or if it's something that they can work through themselves. I want people to know that you don't have to struggle your whole life. Every single day shouldn't be a struggle for you. If it is, you're likely dealing with something mentally that really needs to be relieved. At minimum, discussed, right? Like at minimum, you need to talk about it. Otherwise, it's just going to keep building and building, and that pressure causes illness. It causes disease. Like stress is the biggest factor in heart disease. I'm pretty sure, like in North America. And it's just like, why? We know how to deal with stress. We know how to do that, but it's it's been so embarrassing for people to talk about for so long. It's been so difficult for people to ask for help for so long that I just want to make the information available everywhere, everywhere, as much as possible, all the time. I want to be enthusiastic about it because it's not scary. Getting help is not scary. It takes bravery, it takes courage, but it's not scary. What's scary is living the rest of your life with the fear and the pain and the struggle that you're going through every day. That's scary. Getting help is not scary. That's the answer. That's the solution, right? And so people need to know that help is out there and that people really want to help them. And I feel like the more enthusiastic and informative I can be, the more likely someone is going to ask their doctor or call a counselor or book a session with a coach. Um, just get help and support in some way that they might not have otherwise. And that to me is a huge reward and hugely fulfilling. And so that's what fuels me.
You got more love on the screen, and Anashka says yes, and in the UK too. This is actually what we've talked about, you and I. This is a global effort that we're trying to make here, to put on low budget show, because we're not paid TV. This is free TV, but we have high caliber content. But across the world, Nashka is doing stuff in the UK. You're doing work here. Everyone needs to know that they can access this help. How about recovery? Recovery is not easy for a lot of people.
It's not. And the thing about recovery is in situations related to mental health, like addiction, trauma, um, different mental issues, disorders, disease that people deal with, recovery is very difficult because something pushed you into that mental injury, into that PTSD, or into that recovery mode. Something made you have to recover, I guess is what I'm saying. So whatever got you into the state that you now need to recover from, that is likely something you haven't dealt with before. And so everything is going to be brand new to someone when they're dealing with recovery for the first time. And that's okay. Recovery is not simple or straightforward. Um, it not everyone recovers the first time they try. In fact, it's a very low percentage. A lot of people have to go back over and over and over again. And this is for a lot of different things, not just addiction again. Um, and so we have to remember that when you're dealing with people who are recovering from something. Hi, Authentically Shug. Oh, that's a really cute name. Um, Thanks for joining us. So when you are recovering from something, it's so important to be patient with yourself. You're usually dealing with things you haven't dealt with. You're usually exploring and diving into and bringing up things that you've never talked about, you maybe have never thought about. So being patient with yourself is vital. It is so important. It is so significant to be able to give that to yourself in those moments when you are going through that recovery, because that's when you need it the most. Um, and that's when, again, you need to be, yeah, exactly, Anishka, you need to be patient. Uh, Celebrate the small wins that you have, right? If you're going through recovery and you don't have a huge support system, that's okay, right? You don't need 20 people to have your back all the time to recover, to feel support, right? But it is important that you have a few people. Um, it's easier now than ever to meet people online, to join similar groups, whether it's of the same interest or people who are dealing with the same thing. Even Facebook is full of groups, especially mine. Um, and there is no
I didn't say
support.
that. You said that.
Message boards.
Don't make me get started on Facebook. But go ahead. Go ahead.
There's Reddit. There's so many communities online that you are able to access and find support through and
Yes.
with.
Yes.
So yeah, we really want to make sure that we understand how important it is to have that around us, even if it's just two or three people, to really know that you deserve that support. You deserve to have love in your life, affection in your life, kindness in your life. You don't have to just be struggling every single day by yourself, right? And no matter what you're going through, someone else has gone through it or someone else is going through it right now. So reaching out, It might seem awkward at first if you've never done that before, but again, be patient with yourself. And you might make someone else's day too by admitting or exposing that you're dealing with something that they're also dealing with. You might make their day and make them feel more comfortable talking about it too. So you never know how that small action on your part can affect someone else's recovery as well. And you really have to start somewhere, right?
Our vulnerability, can open the door for someone else's vulnerability or even their fears to be unleashed, because we have taken the lead and maybe showing that we're vulnerable in a certain area that they have maybe ignored or pushed aside for years, decades.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And honestly, it's something I try to do a lot. It's something I actually recommend people do who have social anxiety is when you're out in like a group of people, if you don't like it very much, admit something like small and silly about yourself. Like, oh, I've never seen this incredibly popular movie that everyone always talks, like something like that, that just kind of exposes who you are a little bit. People latch onto that and they will start an entire conversation about it, right? They might rib you a little bit, but that's, you're forming a relationship with that person. It really is the key to humanity, is that vulnerability. And that's why we like to see people vulnerable all the time. People buy tabloids to see, celebrities grocery shopping because, oh, they're just like us. They're vulnerable. They're not these people on pedestals that we kind of see them as in our heads.
Now I know why you're always busy and it's hard to get our meetings together for shows. Now I know. Now you're busy reading tabloid. You're reading. You're the tabloid girl.
Not me, but I know that they.
That explains.
Okay,
no, wait, no. So now I gotta ask. No, I have to ask. We've never had this discussion, so let's do it now in front of everybody. All right. So if you saw a tabloid and you're in line at the supermarket, at the grocery store, since this is an international show, you're in Canada and I'm here. Well, let me see. Who would you want to pick that magazine up and read about? What celebrity would make you literally reach and grab it and say, ooh, I want to see what that says?
Oh, I'm not a celebrity watcher, but I really, really like Jennifer Lawrence because she is hilarious and she's always genuinely herself. And I love the way she sets boundaries in her interviews. She is a really cool chick. So Jennifer Lawrence, I think I would totally read about.
Okay. Just checking. I think I know what I need to do in episode 3 or 4. I just need a cardboard cutout of her over here.
There.
And just do that. You got some more love on the screen from Anashka.
Yeah, Anashka, people are afraid to show their vulnerability. That is entirely true. And when you can go into something and put your vulnerability out there, even if it's something really minuscule, like putting out your opinion on something that maybe not everyone agrees on, or again, admitting something about yourself that might be a little bit vulnerable or personal, but that other people can connect with. It really shows other people that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be genuine. I have a hilarious, ridiculous laugh when I get going and when I laugh because
no comment.
I laugh and I let myself go, and it's not pretty and it's
no
not
comment.
really that great to listen to, but I really feel like it makes people see me as a genuine human and people around them as a genuine human, and that it's okay to just be yourself. We're not, rating each other here. This isn't a game show. Like, you just be yourself.
Can I record it in some of the meetings that we have so I can play it back for everybody? Some of our meetings. Can I just come on, please? Let me do it, please. Come on, I want to show everybody that. Part of it's coming out. Part of it's coming out.
I'll just say this. I was called Machine Gun at a. Yeah.
I'm not bashing you, girlfriend. You know, I got your back. You know, I think the world of you. But that laugh, man, I think you can wake up the dead with that thing, girl. You can resurrect a few. You can resurrect a few people.
Show though, we have to let those qualities show, like Phoebe and Friends.
I agree with you.
Right?
I thoroughly agree.
It's important. Like, don't be perfect. Please don't be perfect. We don't need more perfect people. They're already on the magazine. We need more regular people.
Yeah, Jesus took that job.
Exactly.
The rest of us are not in that mold. Hey,
right?
you got part of the laugh.
it's
I'm
it's
sorry.
it's important to be human, and it's important to recognize that the people around you are human in every single scenario, right? I don't think there's a single scenario in this world that we really need to forget our humanness in. In fact, I think there is a lot that we need to bring more of it into, and I think that will be vital in building, the societies that are really going to thrive and move forward.
When it comes to people who feel like they've lost their ability to laugh because of past trauma, childhood trauma, something as you understand, you can relate to the childhood trauma and other things. Sometimes people feel like their laugh has been stolen from them, been taken from them. What advice, tips, and strategies can you send people down that path to work toward gaining their laugh and their smile again?
I feel like the first thing that you have to figure out is what the weight is on you that is stifling that laughter. Like what it is that you're having to carry around and think about all the time that you can't spare that mental focus in order to eliminate that stress from your mind for a second and in order to compartmentalize it in a healthy way so that you can laugh and chuckle and have fun. Um, I really think a lot of it if we're not, how can I say this? Sorry, I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. It's like it's like if your head is kind of full of swirling thoughts, like chaotic thoughts, and when you've gone through trauma or negative experiences or abuse, all that kind of stuff, which is kind of similar, it's really it takes your focus again away from that connection, like I was talking about earlier. Um, One of the best ways I've heard trauma explained is that it makes you go from connection to protection. So all of your energy and all of your focus is going towards protecting yourself and your brain and your capacity to do whatever it is that you're doing. So in those moments, like it's like you don't have the energy to laugh. It's like you don't have the ability to laugh because your brain is really telling you that you can't. It's telling you that all of your focus needs to be on protecting yourself because through trauma, our alarm system in our brain gets rewired to trip more often, right? So it's a way that our brains try to protect ourselves when we don't know where the threat is coming from. So instead of trying to hyper focus on certain things as threats, everything is a threat. So we need to shut down. We need to slow down. We need to build the walls. We need to refuse the connection in order to protect ourselves. Exactly, Anishka. Our alarm system gets completely rewired. And depending on the trauma and how you deal with it, the severity of that will fall on a spectrum. Sometimes it'll be triggered by a certain thing. Sometimes it's all the time. And I had all of the experiences on that spectrum. Especially going through to healing is it goes from happening all the time to less and less and less and less. But you really need to figure out first where the root cause of that is coming from. Is it from your past? Is it from your present? Is it from a hopeless future? Like, what is it really that's going on for you that is running around your head 24/7? Right. And so getting that out, maybe writing it down, maybe keeping a journal, maybe doing something so that those thoughts aren't swirling around all day will allow you to process them in a way that's different from what you've been doing already, right? So being able to get it out on paper, take a look at it, process it, read it over a few times, not judge it. We never want to judge our thoughts or what we write when we're doing like a brain dump or an exercise like this. We really just want to feel safe in writing down the thoughts that we're having. And it's really important in order to keep that flowing, keep that cycle going. As soon as you hit judgment, it's a little bit harder, if not impossible, to be genuine and honest in what you're writing or what you're talking about. And so not judging yourself is really, really key when you're trying to get through and figure out some thoughts or some intrusive things that have been going on in your mind. So I guess after all that, what I would recommend, Paxton, is that they
Yes.
write stuff down. start writing some things down that they can't get out of their head. Slowly over time, you'll start to notice that those things aren't as intrusive, and slowly over time, you'll realize that through processing those things, you're going to figure out what you need, whether it's a change that you need to make now, whether it's therapy, whether it's coaching, whether it's a doctor, whatever it is, you'll figure that out through going through your own thoughts, right? You have all the answers. Sometimes you need a coach like myself to help you kind of pick through what you're thinking about, what you're doing, what your plans are, in order to really ensure that the things you are doing are going to lead you towards your goals and help you create mental wellness for yourself. But the first step is really always just knowing what your thoughts are. What is so intrusive for you? What is continuously flowing in there for you? It's really, really important to start with that.
When it comes to recovery, you've just spoke about that. You highlighted resiliency at the beginning. But when it comes to relationships, the other person may not want to cooperate toward, well, us moving to be happy people. They may actually try to sabotage that. How can a person navigate a relationship where someone, their partner, is really the problem or setting landmines so they can't have success?
That can be really hard to see. A lot of relationships that end up like that or that are like that, and we finally realize it, you're dealing with a particularly manipulative person. And they might not even know they're being manipulative. And that's, part of the issue with narcissists and people of that caliber is they don't necessarily always realize what they're doing to be destructive. It's just part of who they are and how they think the world functions. And so I think those kind of people really start out with a lot of love bombing and moving really fast and moving into a relationship very quickly. So I think that alone as a red flag should be first and foremost in anyone and everyone's minds when they are looking to figure out if this person is going to be respectful of their boundaries and moving forward at your preferred pace in a relationship, or if they really have zero care for your boundaries and just want to move forward and get in and have that relationship and do what they want and have what they want. That is kind of a first tell to me that someone is going to be respectful or they're going to be selfish and narcissistic in that relationship, right? So really being able to see that, and if you can't see it, listen to your friends and family. If more than one person is telling you that someone is manipulating you or seems to be abusive or borderline abuse, listen to them, right? Your family and friends, unless, they are particularly narcissistic or abusive themselves, they're not going to tell you something just for the heck of it, right? That's a hard conversation to have and a hard thing to bring up to someone you love. And you would only do that if there's a serious issue or if serious consequences are there and can potentially come up. So you really need to listen to the people that have your best interest at heart, right? Don't just brush them off because they don't know him when you're alone, right? If that's how he's acting in front of them, then maybe you don't see the level that he's bringing that to when you guys are by yourself, or she, right? I speak he because it's more talked about that way, but that's incorrect. It happens in both genders. And I really want to make that clear. And so it's important to listen to the people that love you. And, trust your gut. If something seems off, ask them about it, question them about it. And if they don't want to talk to you and be honest with you and communicate with you properly, then that's probably not a relationship that you want to be in either. There are some very important foundations that lead to healthy relationships, which include, respect, communication, boundaries, those, similar intimacy levels. Like those things are really important in establishing relationships with people. And so if there are huge issues in those areas to begin with, that relationship is not likely to work out very well. I'm not saying that impossible. I'm just saying not likely. So just, you have to observe people. Don't let love blind you. And that's easier said than done. But, do your homework, do your research, find out who these people are, make sure they're telling you the truth and the things that they're telling you first and foremost. And this goes for friends too. You can come into contact with new friends who really just want to get something from you or use you in certain ways or manipulate you in certain ways. So don't just think of this in terms of romantic relationships, but friendships as well. I've had a few friendships that I've had to end, and people I've had to cut out of my life because at some point you just realize that you're the only one giving, and when you need anything, whether it's support, a kind word, a phone call, they're just nowhere to be seen, right? It's important to understand that it's just not just for romantic relationships, family relationships as well. But that's a lot more talking for me to do to get into those very. But
I think that's for episode 3 is what you're trying to say.
oh, yeah, those get very complex and complicated because at some stages in our families we're forced to be around people who might be bad for us, right? And that you really, if especially if you're a juvenile or you're underage, right? You don't really have the choice to leave that, right? Like I did, and I had very serious consequences because of it. Not like legal consequences or anything like that, but consequences in, not being able to focus on school as much as I probably should have been able to. Things like that, you don't really realize the effect of until you've gone in and done those things. But at the time, you feel like you really don't have another option. So again, I'm being patient with myself, telling myself I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. And, it really made me who I am today and got me where I am today, which I'm very happy to be. So,
I'm
yeah,
happy too.
good,
I'm very happy.
good, good.
When it comes to doing this show, what made you decide to say yes?
I have so much to say, Paxton. I have so much information to share. And you asked me earlier what keeps me motivated. And again, it's really about getting that information out. That was the reason I actually became a probation officer, was because I realized how important giving out proper information to people who need help is. It's the reason I transitioned from that job into being a counselor, because again, realizing the importance of that information and wanting to help people before they got involved with the system, that was a huge motivation for me to move into that. And now, as a coach, I'm able to help in so many different capacities, and always, with the intent of moving towards goals, and achieving mental wellness for my clients. And so having the opportunity to talk about that and help people on a more larger scale instead of sitting with someone one on one. I only have so many hours in my day, right? This gives me an opportunity to teach and coach on a massive level, a massive scale. Something that I think is an amazing opportunity. And I love seeing all of these people join us, Mohammed and Connection Coaching and Tiffany Niembri and Mona Brown. Look at all of you. Wonderful people. Thank you so much for joining us. It's this is why I want to do this show, is to have all these people come and talk to us and know that they're not alone and that they can get help and support, and that I'm just a DM away or an email away. I really just love being there for people, and I love being able to provide that information that I really, really, really needed and didn't get. And so, I want to be that person that I needed.
Could we take from your time here right now, and can we have Tiffany join us? She's here. Could you give her one of your high-tech buttons over there to welcome her to the show? She just joined.
Definitely. Hi, Tiffany.
And that goes out to Mona and everybody else that just joined, including URU Connection Coaching, who has been on the Narcabuse TV show and platform a couple of times, as well as Open Session Podcast. Let's have Tiffany join us, if that's okay with you, Coach.
Yeah, for sure. Do we have enough time left?
We have a little bit left.
Perfect. So let's do it. Tiffany, I'm so excited to meet you. Starting with a compliment. She knows how to get to my heart.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey!
How are
How's it
you?
going? Great. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. How's your day going?
Actually, it's been really good, except for we just got rained out. We were going to take the four-wheeler out today, but can't do it now.
Yeah, got to work with what you got. Hey, whereabouts are you?
I am in Kentucky.
I was gonna
Kentucky.
say she's in a secure location, Coach.
Yes, I am in Kentucky
She's
in a
in a
secure
secure basement
location.
underground in narc abuse witness protection program.
Blink, blink
All
quickly if
set
you
on
need
my
assistance.
own. Yeah.
She's secure from any knucklehead finding her.
Yeah.
She has a story to tell us a little bit before we before.
Update on that. He has found me.
Oh no, I was good. Yeah,
Yeah, I just learned that yesterday, but it's all good.
Okay, you had me concerned there for a moment because I was debating whether I was going to say that. I just wanted
Yeah, it's fine.
to
It's fine. I'm
so
no
the
longer.
troopers are outside your home protecting you, no doubt.
Absolutely, no doubt.
We say that with a smile, but you had a
Yeah.
story to tell Coach. You had your life story you wanted to touch on with Coach before our show comes to an end.
Um, I just I don't know where to start. It's a real long one, but it's okay. Like I'm just gonna tell you the recents, and then maybe one day we'll go back further.
Maybe you can
Yeah,
But
come back
I
on
met.
when we come back on in a couple of weeks or so. You can come back on and tell us some more because everybody will be interested. You're getting a hello, by the way. I don't know if you know that, Tiffany, on the
Oh,
screen.
I'm
Shay
not
Shay's
sure,
got
but
got a wave out
hi.
to you. Go ahead.
Hello.
You were going to say, please.
I left an 18-year toxic relationship, about the same, a narcissistic, and for a long time I thought it was me. And so I've come to find out that no, it's not me. And I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. That was a very big joy to find out. But um, I left in December. Finally, all three of my children had come to me within, let's see, my oldest came 2 years ago. My middle child came 2 months before I finally left him. And then my youngest came at the very end of it. So they all told me, I don't know why you're with him. Why don't you just divorce? Why don't you leave him? Blah, blah, blah. And after my youngest child said that, I was like, okay, well, the next time he does something erratic, then I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You guys deserve better. So I did that, and it was a really crazy day. But I dropped him out on December 15th. I have yet to become face to face with him. We tried doing the messaging for the kids back and forth, and that's not working. So I haven't responded to any of his messages since May 30th. And my life has just total 180. Just keeping the non-contact. My mindset is so much better, more clear. I'm actually finding who I am and what I like, and it's really a joy to get to know me and know that life isn't as dark as what we think it is all the time. It doesn't have to be. So, yeah, anyone who's in a place like that, you can escape. You can get out. It took a long time. It took many go bags in my car, in my mother's car, in my father's car. I had go bags. I had a place to stay. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do. I even to the point to where I had one-on-one conversations with my children about how I would probably have to leave, but I would be back for them. But they couldn't go with me because I didn't know where I was going. And it was pretty crazy at times. So yeah,
you're
but
incredible.
what?
You are
No,
incredible.
I just
Absolutely.
me.
You're
Thank you.
incredible. No, like,
It's hard to accept a compliment still a little bit. I'm working on it, but thank you. I don't feel incredible. I mean, I do now. I'm starting to feel incredible. No,
good.
but I
Good.
don't want, I'm not, I mean, I don't know. I'm
It's
still
a
a little
huge,
weird.
it's a huge process. If you're not weird, you're boring. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
my thing. But first of all, to leave an abusive relationship during a pandemic, when you have children, like those are huge factors to consider.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to do.
But you just did it. You did it because you knew, and there was
Well,
really,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah. What were the other options, right? Like staying the same,
Miserable.
having your children without.
Fearful. Staying. Just, I couldn't stay. I couldn't. No more.
And so now you're finding your resiliency. You're learning what you need to learn to get through, to get to the next level,
Right.
to stop all that mental manipulation that I'm sure has been going on for a really long time.
Yeah.
to boost
Yeah.
that confidence
To
that you
even feel
deserve.
worthy of just being is hard some days, just feeling even a little bit of hope is, I don't know, it's amazing. Just a little bit, just to see that it's not so dark. There is a little bit of a rainbow there, like it's amazing. Because where I was at, there was times that I would wake up in the morning and I would just pray to die. I wasn't going to kill myself. I couldn't, but I was ready to. I was just waiting for death, just waiting. Just sitting around waiting, and it
And that
was
can be
it was
super dangerous, right? Because then we put ourselves into high risk situations where we don't take care of ourselves like we really need to be doing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
It'd be really scary to be in that place.
And then when you do start to take care of yourself, I've noticed that I've been torn down because of it. I'm selfish now to the narc. I'm the most selfish person in the world at the moment. And that's okay. I don't care that I'm selfish to him because I know I've been selfless my whole life. I have been so selfless. And thank you, Shay Shay. and I just want others to know that you can get out and you are not hopeless. You are not helpless. You can get out of there and you have to change your own mind. No one can do it for you. You have to do it yourself, but don't let anyone affect it in a negative way. Like I feel like I did a lot. I let someone else make me feel the way I felt about me, and that shouldn't have never been. That should have never been. So,
Well, it's something that I always say, I said it a few times on this show even, is we make the best choices we can with the information and the resources that we have when we're making them. So
right.
we're not going to make a bad decision when we know what we know. We're going to just be using that information. And so if you're being fed false information by someone trying to manipulate you for so long,
Yes.
that is going to completely change how your brain is functioning.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've learned so much, and through high school, I studied psychology and child development and other things like that. So it's like I knew what was going on, but for some reason, I still was unable to break
Tiffany,
away. To
I
to con-
completed a university degree in psychology and I didn't realize I had PTSD.
So crazy. How can you not? And then I
It,
felt so stupid. I
I
felt
know, I
so
understand that. I understand that entirely. I really do. It's not like there's a difference between understanding something intellectually and
yes.
emotionally, right? Like you
Right,
can
right.
list
Because
the
it's
symptoms.
like I didn't even know that a trauma bond had existed. Like I didn't even know of such words or such things. And I started to I didn't even realize it. The trauma bond, like the narc thing, I realized about 5 years ago. And then I dove into Cora and I started asking questions and I started doing
Good for
like
you.
and now I'm answering questions and it's really crazy. I like Cora a lot, but it's so crazy how that you don't know, that you are blinded, that you are you really do believe all these negative things that you're told, and it's because it's repetitive and it's over.
It's
I thought I
brainwashed.
was crazy.
No,
I was on the phone with
a little bit.
um, a rehab kind of deal. They're
Okay.
called Stepping Stone, and I was going into to actually residential. I was not going in for a detox. No, no, I was going in until I was better. I was like, no,
Okay.
if you think I'm crazy and you're calling me crazy, then I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And then he would switch it up. No, you're not crazy. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, no, but you need to make up my own mind. I can't make it up. You're gonna have to make it up for me.
You need to make up my own mind.
And that's
Go on,
how it
And
girl.
was. Like I
manipulation.
still
That's a
struggle
good
with
one.
making up my mind. Like
You need
it's
it. You need a T-shirt that says that. It's just,
yes,
why don't you
please
make up
make
my
up
own
my
mind?
mind.
Make up my mind for me. Then.
That's
You
a
know
great
better
Make
than
up my
me.
mind.
Then go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just I still struggle with it. I'm like, no, man, I don't even know how to make decisions. Like it's.
and that will
I've
get
only
better
been
with
away since December 15th, so
that will
not
get
very
better.
long, but
Yeah.
it's long enough. And I'm
It
so
is.
happy.
But to think about the 18 years of the manipulation, the tactics, all of that kind of stuff, it's not going to happen overnight. And I think the progress that you already have been making is incredible for what, 6 months
Yeah.
of being away. Like you're doing so well. You're smiling. You're proud of yourself
I
for
was
getting away. I can feel that you should
my
be.
thank you. Thank you. I'm enjoying life now, finally, and I don't even know. Like my cheeks hurt, like sometimes, and yeah, I've got amazing people around me. I've surrounded myself with
You
what I
deserve
call now my soul tribe, and it's like I don't know what I would do without them. I have so many close friends and family that have just stick by me even when I thought they were gone, and it's just so crazy. It really is. Life is amazing if you
it.
let it
Really,
be.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're getting some love too on the screen here from everyone. So
I
I hope
see that.
you that.
Thank you.
Good,
Well,
good.
There's
I
so
want both of you to know this has been a true pleasure for me
well,
to
it's
be
all
the.
because of you right now.
It is.
No, no,
Please,
no, no, no. Okay, don't be
you
letting out any
reached out.
secrets. Don't let out no secrets now.
Okay, let's see.
I am honored to do this today. The Coach Jess Show is coming to a bunch of S's. The Coach Jess Show is coming to an end with these two beautiful ladies. Coach, you set the tone for us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Tiffany
guys.
came
Yes,
in last minute, fourth quarter.
yes.
You did the
Everyone just.
layup that won the game.
I
Don't change a
haven't won
thing.
yet. I'm still battling. We're
We're going
gonna
to be back
win.
in a few more weeks. We're going to be back in a few more weeks. You're going to come back. We're going to
Awesome,
have you
awesome.
back.
I'd love to
And
come
Coach
back.
Jess is
Thank
going to
you
spend
guys
more
so
time.
much.
Yes, I'd
Don't
love to.
forget, if you are watching or following Coach Jess or myself in our pages, I believe, Coach, you said what? 30 minutes free?
30-minute coaching session with me. So just DM me or email me, please. I'd love to chat with anyone and everyone. You too, Tiffany, are welcome to take advantage of that as
Thank
well.
you.
All
Um,
right, everybody, we love you. Coach, we went beyond our time limit. Last
oh,
words, Coach.
last words. Be resilient. Learn from Tiffany. You can do this. You don't have
Can
to
do
suffer in
it.
silence.
Absolutely. Peace, love,
Peace out.
happiness.
Peace out.
Always.
We love each and every one of you. Coach Jess show comes to an
Bye,
end.
guys.
Episode 2. Come back next time for episode number 3. Later.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.